Hey you guys, this is Shelly, and I wanted to shoot a quick tutorial video because a lot of the questions I've been getting and the issues that I've been dealing with have been about menus and how to organize those menus and use all the different features that are inside the menu. So let's just talk about menus and how to set them up. That's what this tutorial is going to be about. And it's really important to understand what menus are first. So menus are the way that you're going to navigate through your website or just through a web page. So they're usually at the top of the page in the header. And when you click on one of the items in the header, it takes you to either a location on a page or it takes you to a different page or a different page, a different location. So these things are really important because it allows the user to quickly navigate to where they want to go in your website. So I'm going to show you real quickly, hopefully, how to set up a menu and how to configure it so it does exactly what you want it to do. So right here you see that I'm in the builders and I click drag and drop builder and I chose new website and it gives me all the templates. For simplicity's sake, I'm just actually going to go with a blank template and I'm going to choose the very first one with clean banners. So there's nothing in there except the banners. And I'm going to click edit. And it'll take it a minute for this to pull up so that I can actually start editing. Okay, here we are in the HTML editor. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a bunch of pages that we need. So I'm going to just create a few pages. I'm going to stop the video while I create them, and then I'll come back and show you exactly what I created. All right, so I've created my menu, and all I did was I created a home page, which was automatically there. That was my blank page that I started with. And then I created a page 2, 3, and 4. And then I've got a subpage 2A and a subpage 2B. Those are going to be like under menu items under page 2. I've got a subpage 3A, subpage 4A, and I've got a subpage 5A. And if you notice, I didn't make a page 5. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a minute. Now, if I wanted a page 5, I could go to Add Page, and I could choose Blank Page, and I can name it Page 5, and then just click Confirm. And that gives me a page 5, but I want to show you something different, and I don't need a page on there. So I'm just going to go to Configure, and I'm going to go to delete, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to delete this page? Just click confirm, and now my page 5 is gone. So I have the home page, which is technically my page 1. Then I'm going to go page 2, page 3, page 4, and then I've got some sub pages that we're going to set up in the menu. So I have all my pages set up. Now I can start working on getting a menu made. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window, and now I'm going to go to the plus sign, and I'm going to choose menu right here. So I'm going to click that, and it gives me a bunch of really neat choices for menus. And gosh, I can do all kinds of neat menus here. So I really like these type of menus a lot. So I'm going to go with this menu, and all I do to activate it on the page is just click it, and boom, there it is. Now it's kind of sparse, there's not much there, and that's okay. But we've got a menu started. So let's go ahead and close this window. And I'm going to go ahead and do some editing. So to do that, I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go to Appearance. And this is actually a dripping menu, so we're going to change that. I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to go back and go to Menu, and I'm going to stay on Classic. And under Classic, I'll pick that same menu. So here we go, click it. And you can see it's empty. That's not anything scary. All it just means is it doesn't know to put anything in there, because this is a really neat automated system, and you got to kind of tell it what to do in the beginning, but then it'll kind of do everything itself. It's pretty nifty. So let's go ahead and put it in the header area, because that's where we're going to want it. And whenever you move something from like the body of the page to the header of the page, it'll say, hey, this is a pretty big deal that you moved this here. Make sure you understand what you did, and if everything's okay, click OK. All right? So we moved it in the header, and now I'm going to right-click it, and I'm going to go to Configure. And it's the menu default. I don't want to change anything. I'm just going to go to Edit. And here is the important area that I want to work with. This has all the pages that I created, so that's absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to start adding them. These are all my pages that I currently have, and I'm going to start adding them into the configuration of the menu. So I want my home page first. I want my page 2 next. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag it. I want my page 3 and page 4, and I'm going to click and drag them into the right order. So that's wonderful. That's exactly what I want. But now I've got these subpages, and I want them to go underneath the appropriate pages. So subpage 2, I want to go under page 2, but I want it to be a submenu. So I'm going to pull it slightly to the right, and it's going to be, it's not going to be all the way to the left. It's going to be slightly off to the right. And I've got a 2B that I want to go under page 2. So I'm going to do that slightly to the right as well. And you can see that you can take it too far and it will put it as a sub menu, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to keep working on it, and there we go. That's exactly where I want it lined up. And now I'm going to put my 3A under page 3. I'm going to put it as a sub menu, and page 4A, put it under page 4. Perfect. That's exactly the way I want it. And now I've got this sub page 5, but I don't have a page 5 to add it to. So I'm going to go ahead and click New Item, and I'm going to call it page 5. And I'm going to say that there's no action that's going to be taken with it. I just want it an empty button that when I push it, it'll show me page 5A. Okay, so there's nothing that'll happen when the user clicks it except it'll show them the option of having 5A. So I'm going to click confirm. So you can see now that I now have a page 5. And I'm going to take my 5A and I'm going to dump it underneath there, and then I'm going to do it as a submenu, just like that. Okay, so that looks exactly like how I want it, and I'm going to go to confirm. And now you can see that I've got my menu items on there. What's really neat is I've got my home button. If I just hover over page 2, it gives me sub page 2 and 2A and 2B. If I hover over page 3, it gives me subpage 3 as well. If I hover over page 4, it gives me subpage 4. And if I hover over 5, it gives me subpage 5. So remember that click is your friend. So I'm going to go in here and, or sorry, save as your friend. So I'm going to save it. And because it's a new site, I'm going to have to name it. I'll call it Training 1 and click Send. And now in the background, it's updating everything and making sure that that whole site is set up correctly. Great. And now it tells me that everything is saved. So I'm going to go to preview. And now you can see that I've got these pages, and I can actually go to sub pages, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to return to edit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually put an indicator on each page to show you that it's going to each page. So let me go into my pages and into my layout. And here's all my pages. So on this page, I'm going to activate it. And I'm going to go to add text. I'm going to keep it really, really simple. We're just going to say home. That's simple enough, isn't it? Put it right there. And then go to the next page. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'll come back and I'll show you that everything's been changed. All right, now I've updated each of the pages. So I'm going to go into my pages and show you exactly what I did. All I did was click on each one. So home has the word home on it. Page 2 has the word page 2 on it. Page 3 has the word page 3 on it, and so on and so forth. You get it. So that way you can see that the menus are actually working and it's changing the pages. Okay? So I'm going to go through here and make sure everything is correct. 5A and 2B. Fantastic. So again, save as your friend. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and click preview. And it has me on page 2B. And if I click page 2, you can see that that takes me to page 2. If I click subpage 2A, that's going to take me to subpage 2A. If I click home, I'll go back to home. If I click page 4, I'll go back to page 4. Now here's the interesting one. If I click page 5, remember there is no page 5. We only did that as like a holder place. So you can click page 5 all you want to, it's not going to go anywhere. But if I click subpage 5A, it goes to 5A. So I want you to know that you can have a header for a menu column and it doesn't have to click to go anywhere. You can just have it a holder place. So let's say you were having a jewelry website and you wanted to put a category of like rings. So you could actually have a category of rings and then underneath it have pearl rings, uh, silver rings, gold rings, diamond rings. So when they click the word rings, it wouldn't take them anywhere. But if they click gold rings, it would take them to where all the gold rings were. If they click silver rings, it would take them where all the silver rings were. So that's just kind of a way to almost create a header for your menu items. So another thing I want to show you, let's go back to edit. Now remember that I clicked and dragged this into the header, right? So if I pull this down and put it into the body and take it out of the header, remember it's a major change. It's majorly changing this website. So there's a message that says, hey, you're pulling it out of the header area and it could be a mistake. And I'll just click, okay, I got it. So what happens when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click preview. And you can see now that it's not in my header. If I click page 2, it'll sure enough take me to page 2, but that menu is not in the header anymore, so I don't see the menu. So that's why the menus really need to go into that header, because that header shows on every single page, and you'll have consistently across every page in your website. So once you create the structure of your site and you put your menu together, you don't really have to do a lot of changes after that. So I'm going to go to return to edit. And I'm going to go to that. It was on page 5A, I think. So let's go back to page 5A. And that was where I dropped my menu. So I'm going to drag my menu back up to the header because that's the best place for it. And it again says that's a major change. And are you sure that you want to do this change? Oh, yes, I definitely want to do this change. So now that puts my menu back in the header area so that it shows up on all the pages. So that's how you handle menus, and that's how you make consistency across your entire website so that users can navigate very easily to wherever they want to go in your website. Now, again, with these menus, we can also change the appearance. So we can choose to change the menu to look something like this, something like this, something like this. So there's lots of different styles that you can choose from. And if you want to add or look at some different menus, you can go back to plus, go to menu, and here's all the different types of classic menus. So these are fantastic ways of organizing your page so that it is working for your users so they can find things easily. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can actually change the way this looks. Let's go to appearance and go to settings. And I want to show you something else that you can do is, because this is pretty neat, you can actually, you can change the text color and the hover color and everything on these menus. And you can change the sub-menu colors. So there's a lot of power that you have in these menus. And there's a lot of different styles you can choose from. So if I wanted to change it from the box type to this type, I could do that. I can make it to where the menu automatically chooses a width, or I can designate the size that I want to make it. I can change the horizontal spacing. I can change the vertical spacing. I can change the item spacing. I can change this item. These are for the submenus. So if I want them spaced a little more, see how they're spaced a little more? I can change the vertical spacing. So lots of power in those buttons alone. And then you can change all the text and colors as well. So lots of power. Play with these menus a little bit, but remember that these are really important to your user. So think in terms of the people that are going to your site and think about how they're going to have to be able to get from page to page and see all the information that you have on your website. And the way to do that is have a consistent menu system so they can find that information very easily. So that's all I have for you for the menu items. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And I hope this helped you. And I will see you. Don't forget to learn something new today.